and welcome to Contact. I'm Gloria Creighton, and we're here once again at the beautiful Ferguson Point Tea House in Stanley Park. My guest on today's show is the West End's own First Lady of Showbiz, Ms. Jeni Le Gon. Hello. Jeni, how are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thanks. And yourself?
I'm just fine. Good to see you in person. I always see you in some movie or other.
Thank you.
You know, very often when I stay up late and watch some of those old, wonderful musicals, there's always Jeni coming out full and strong on the screen, tapping and singing up a storm.
There's a number of them, so you probably see me quite often. I understand that some of my pictures have been seen in as far away as Plymouth, England recently, so I'm very happy about that. Only thing I wish is I was getting money for them.
Are you not getting royalties?
Oh, no, we don't get any royalties. They were made too long ago.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How long ago were these movies made?
Shall I tell?
Well.
Oh, at least 40 years ago.
Is that right?
Yeah. They're oldies, real oldies.
They're wonderful. What were some of the titles of
Well, I did one with Eddie Cantor that was called Ali Baba Goes to Town, which is about, Alibaba and that sort of thing. And I do a wonderful tap dance in that. And then I did, I worked from the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s, and into the 60s. So actually I've worked with Bing Crosby. I did one that was called The Birth of the Blues with Bing Crosby. And
Easter Parade?
And Easter Parade with Fred Astaire and Judy Garland. And, I can't remember. There's quite a number of them.
Many.
Yes.
You also had a steady dancing partner. Who was that?
Oh, well, when I first time I started in the movies, I danced with the fabulous and wonderful Bill Bojangles Robinson, and he was the, he was the one that danced with Shirley Temple for a while, and that was my honor to be able to dance. And Shirley and I are only two girls that ever danced with him, so that was quite an honor.
Jeni, you've spent, over 50 years in showbiz, not only in movies, but on Broadway and off Broadway, and writing songs and all kinds of things.
Yes.
And now at an age when most people would sort of settle down and retire and be content to sit back and smell the flowers, you're going stronger than ever.
Well,
you're teaching, you've got performing dance group, your own jazz group, and jazz band in which you perform. You're writing, you're currently doing a show. Where do you get your energy?
I don't know. I'm just fortunate. I really, I was talking to some youngsters yesterday, and I was telling them that I had been in the business that long. And there were some new students of mine, and they were just marveling at the fact that I could move, because I could outdance them all, you see, when I would show you the things to do. And so one of them said, he says, so you're passing it on to us? And I said, yes, and that's why I keep going, I believe, because I know an awful lot, so I want to pass it on.
So you got to get it out.
Yes, yeah.
Good for you. Let's talk about your teaching for a bit. You're teaching Afro jazz.
Yes, I teach Afro jazz. I do some ballet. I teach ballet, basic ballet, so that when the kids move, they at least know what to do with their arms, and they don't look too awkward. And of course, tap is my forte. That's what I made my living on, tapping. And then I teach just straight jazz, the kind of things that we used to do when we were in the chorus lines and dancing, just dancing ad lib, like they do now somewhat, yes.
And I must say, I've heard via the grapevine that some of your young-uns, as you call them, your younger students, have a hard time keeping up with you.
Yes, they do.
Do you accompany your own classes?
Pardon?
Do you accompany your own classes?
Oh, yes. But for my Afro classes, I played conga drums. And I learned to do that from one wonderful drummer from Catherine Dunham's group. His name was Gaucho Vanderhans. And he was the original drummer with her, and he taught me how to play the congas, and so I do that for my students.
Wonderful. Actually, you've been a part of the city's dance scene for over 20 years, am I right?
Yes.
How has the city changed, say, as regards to opportunities for performers? Are there more now or less since you've been here?
I think there are more. I actually haven't followed such a, how would you say it, a professional career in theater and dance since I've been here. I've been in a little bit and then out a little bit. So I don't have too much, I should say I don't have a very wide scope of what's going on. But I know there are more dance companies now, and they seem to be surviving better than they did, a few years back. And there seems to be, there's quite a bit of theater now, too. So I would say that generally, things have picked up. There's more happening now, yes.
How about your jazz group? What is it called?
Oh, it's called Jazz Sank.
What type of music?
We do mainly, old jazz, the Duke Ellingtons and the Fats Wallers and Cole Porter and all that sort of thing, really, and blues. And then we do some Latin things because not only do I play conga, but I'm a percussionist. You know what they call a percussionist now. I play the congas and timbales and all the scratching instruments and anything that you do with beating and stuff. That's c'est moi.
So do you mean to tell me that in this group while you're performing, you're sort of bouncing back and forth and doing a little bit of dance, singing, and going from instrument to instrument?
Yes. I usually have, I keep my congas on one side and I have the timbales on the other, and then I have all the shakers and everything down on the case so that I can use them. And we play for quite a bit of Latin things, and the rumbas and chas and stuff like that. So, and then I dance, of course, and then I sing. So I'm just there.
That's great. Doing it all.
We have five musicians, and that's the reason why I call it jazz science. So that eliminates me, you see. So we usually have piano, bass, and drums as the rhythm section, and two horns. We've been using saxophone and trumpet, and it has a very nice sound. We've got some wonderful arrangements, and we've done some very good things. We did the Du Maurier concerts for 2 years, and we worked up at the Vancouver Roof. So we've been doing.
You can be seen at Jazz Hut from time to time?
Yes. We work there, and we're hoping. What we really would like is, if possible, one of these days somebody would give us a steady gig in a room, which is idle dreaming, but it'll happen.
It always has, so why not?
Yes.
We've chatted about your movies, your wonderful movies, and what you're doing now. Apart from the movies, as I mentioned earlier, you've had a career on Broadway and off Broadway.
Yes.
Did a lot of touring. What did you do in Broadway?
Oh, I did a show called Early to Bed. And the music was written by Fats Waller, who incidentally was in the first movie that I made. It was Bill Robinson and Fats and myself. And I was to play opposite Fats because he and I worked together quite often in the East after the movies. And he wrote all the music, and he didn't appear in the show because he went to California, and was on his way back to New York to appear in the show. He died, so he never did see it. And he was he came to rehearsals, and I did some numbers with him at the auditions for what they have, the auditions for the backers,
right,
and that sort of thing. So I did some of the tunes with him at that time.
What was he like to work with?
He was just tops. He's my favorite of all the performers that I've met.
Wonderful performer.
Yeah.
You were fortunate to have worked with some of these people.
I say.
Who were some of the others that
shall I list them?
Yes, at least a couple.
Well, I worked with Fats, and I worked with Cab. I worked with Count Basie. In fact, my first really professional job was with Count Basie. I danced in the chorus and chorus line. And let's see. I worked with in the movies. I worked with a lady named Patsy Kelly, who was a wonderful comedian. I don't know if you remember her or not. I worked with Brian Crawford. I worked with
You were also, if I can interrupt here while you're thinking, involved with the Amos and Andy.
Oh yes, we did the
comedy
Amos and Andy series of the TV ones, and there everybody was screaming and yelling about they didn't like them because the kids were, kind of funny dialects and all that sort of business. So they were taken off. And so recently I heard that they were trying to put them back on, and there's still a fight about them. But really and truly, they were excellent, and the actors were so good. So I just as soon really see some of them again. In fact, I have some of them on tape. And I've invited my students, from 07 on up, and they just sit and chuckle over them. So I know they're still good. They're really good, And all this nonsense about them being silly, well, that's,
probably make a comeback now.
I think they will. Yeah, they were thinking about doing a musical of it on Broadway.
That'd be great.
So that would be wonderful. Yeah.
Jenny, let's just turn the clock back for a little while to the 1930s in Chicago. What was life like for Jeni Le Gon as a little girl then?
Oh, well, I don't know that I have any quarrels to have. There are any quarrels that I can say about my times in the city of Chicago. We had a wonderful family. I had a wonderful family, extended family. My grandmother was the head of the house and the whole clan, and my mother had 5 sisters and 3 brothers, and there were a whole bunch of cousins, et cetera, et cetera. And we used to have wonderful times. And
Is it a musical family?
Sort of, kind of, yes, because what we used to do on the weekends, like about once a month, on weekends, we'd do shows. My brother sang, and he was also a ballroom dancer. My sister sang, and I had a brother who played piano and sang, and he was a comedian. And then all the others, you know, would do things. And we'd just put on our shows in our, you know, in the house, and it was just wonderful.
This was your early training, actually.
Yeah. And we had gangs in Chicago too, but they were theater gangs. And we used to do shows like we had new kids would move in the block, and if they'd have to audition for our gang to see whether we liked them. If they weren't as good as we thought, as we wanted them to be, you know, we'd send them down, you know, to another.
It was a healthy kind of gang.
Oh, it was wonderful. No, and we used to
productive.
perform. Yes, we used to perform on the afternoon. We'd play out in the backyards. We know of these big old buildings that had the backyard. You see, so you would play. Excuse me. We play out in the back during the early part of the day. Then we'd come in at 12 o'clock and take our baths and have our lunch and go take a nap if we were the younger ones, you know. And then in the afternoon we changed our clothes, and then we could play in the front. And most of where we started is on the street we lived on had these nice high steps, you know, to the buildings. And so we'd use the steps as the theater, and the kids would perform down on the ground. And we used to have a jug band, and if you could sing, you could dance, you could do acrobatics, et cetera, et cetera. And those were our games. Super. It was fun, just lots of fun.
When did you get your first big break?
Well, that was when I got a chance to do the show with Count Basie.
How old were you, Jenny?
I was 14, and
How did it happen?
Well, I went and I auditioned, and I didn't think I had been picked. And then I was going to stay home like it was on a Friday that we finished, and that Monday we were supposed to repeat again, and I didn't go. I wasn't going to go. And then I went down, and when I got there, I was a little bit late, and that proved to me, don't be late. When I got there, the girls weren't in the room where we had been before, and I was just, you know, just crushed. And one of the ladies that had been helping with us, helping us, came in and she said, "Oh, listen," she says, "everybody's downstairs getting their trying costumes, so go down there and try costumes, you know." So I said, "Fine," so we did. So after that, I worked in that group with the Count Basie Orchestra, and that's when he had his full wonderful band, and had Lester Young in it, and Joe Jones, and Helen Humes was singing, and Mr. 5x5, Jimmy Rushing. That was
fine
good.
performance.
Oh boy, it was something else. So that was my first debut. And so then after that, I thought, well, gee, you know, I'm really ready to do stuff. And every year in Chicago at that time, all the movie theaters in the neighborhoods, you know, around surrounding neighborhoods, would have shows. And at Christmas time, and they'd have a show at Easter, and then some of them even had amateur nights all during the year. So I was told to go see about a job for one of these Christmas shows, and I went down and I danced, and the band said, "Oh, you're wonderful," blah blah blah, stuff, you know. And he said, "Go in the back and try the costumes on." And I'm 14 and no figure whatsoever. You can't believe it to see me now, but anyway, I had nothing. It was still a little boy's figure.
Costumes.
I didn't fit in the costume, and the man just had to fit. The darn thing it was 2 pieces, you know, just a bra and then little panties, and they were hanging, and I was standing like this. But anyway, he gave me a job because I told him that I could dance alone. So I danced in pants, and it was a big lie. But
Good
anyway,
for you.
got me the job.
And that's how you became a solo performer.
Yes, indeed.
Excellent, Jenny. So did you dance with the Count Basie band then for a couple of years?
I did. We worked with him for a couple of years, and then I came and did the other things, and I started singing out. Yeah, so.
And then what ensued? Did movies come into the picture after that?
We worked, I had a foster sister who was also in show business, and we used to do what they call a sister act, you know, where we'd do something together. And she'd do her little bit, I'd do my little bit, and then we'd do something together again, and that was the end. And we had a chance to go to California.
Now that story's going to have to wait. I'm going to interrupt you for a moment because you know what we're going to do right now?
Okay.
They've got the cameras just about ready here. We're going to look at something very special that happened to you a couple of years ago.
Oh?
You were presented with something very special and long overdue. So we're going to take a wild look at that, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Jenny tap danced her way into her first film role, Hooray for Love with Bilbo Jangles Robinson. Jenny was making $1,250 a week, but she was still not allowed to eat in the main dining room with the rest of the white stars.
In the late 30s, Jenny took a break from Hollywood and went to London to star on stage in Follow the Sun. For the next 2 decades, Hollywood's chocolate princess, as they called her, appeared in theaters, nightclubs, and films. Over 50 years after entering show business, Jeni Le Gon still has not hung up her dance shoes.
We're honored to welcome into the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame, Miss Jeni Le Gon.
Look at this gorgeous thing. Isn't it beautiful? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy.
Once again for Contact, I'm Gloria Creighton, and I'm speaking with Miss Jeni Le Gon. We've just been looking at her induction into the Black Hall of Fame. Jenny, that looks real exciting. Can you tell us what's happening in this video?
Yes, it's taken place at the Paramount Theater in Oakland, California, and it's an old movie house that they've renovated and they used for the cultural things. And I was presented a plaque for having been in the business as long as I was. And there were others in the induction were Sammy Davis Jr. and then Carruthers, who was Sandman, who did the, Scatman's Carruthers, pardon me. And he had died, and so his wife accepted for him. And it's called the Miss Show Awards, and they're in honor of the first black movie maker that we had in the States, and his name was Oscar Michaud. And he worked in Chicago first, and then he went into business in New York, but he's done it. And they're showing some of his movies now, too.
So did you feel that this was long overdue, that you should have had this many years ago? How did you feel that day?
Well, this was the 14th one, and having let 14 years go by without being recognized and having been in the business really is one of the first to have a contract and all that sort of thing, and to do as many pictures as I did, I felt like it was a little bit overdue. So anyway, when it was wonderfully, I just felt grand after I did get it, so I let bygones be bygones.
And get back to you and your movie days. You were actually one of the first black actresses to be signed with MGM.
Yes.
Did this open doors to you? Many opportunities came your way after this?
Not too many, because at the time there wasn't. At the time that I was there with Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney and that bunch of kids, and all those little movies that they used to do about the kids next door and all that. See, I didn't fit in at that time. It's one of the kids next door, so it wasn't too many things that came out of it, other than the fact that I could get good jobs on the stage, and so that's what I did, in fact, under that particular contract, I never even made a movie for MGM because they bought out the contract because as I said, there was nothing to do. The first movie I was supposed to do there, they decided they wouldn't use me because there were 2 tap dancers in the show, so they cut me out of that. So then that's when I went to Europe, and I went over and did a show over on the London stage, and I stayed over there for 2 years. So that was that particular opportunity came out of that, you see.
You, apart from doing stage work now and teaching and all of that, you still do movies from time to time. Oh, how have the movies changed in, say, 50 years?
Oh dear, I don't think they're that different, really. There are not that many parts as time goes. Really to do things substantially. Once in a while there comes something that, like, what was it, The Color Purple, and they used to do that years ago because they did Stormy Weather, and ever so often they come up with something. But as an actor or an actress in the business, making a living out of it as continuously, I don't think that's improved that much, because all the ones that are doing the movies are either doing TV or something, but the movies are not that important. And
certainly less musicals happening.
Oh, there are no musicals, and the thing about it is that there are no musicals on stage, and there are very few musicals. No video musicals. That they used to have. Used to have all the wonderful things, and I think it's very sad. Although I'm doing something as far as a musical is concerned, I'm working with a group that's doing a show called A Blast from the Past.
A Blast from the Past. And where can we look for Blast from the Past?
Oh, it's going to be opening on April the 4th at the Waves Cafe down on the Expo grounds, next to 86th Street. And it has a wonderful group of young people in it, from kids from here, of course. And they're doing things like Rock Around the Clock and all that era of 50s and 60s, music with the rock and roll stuff. And
who's directing it, Jenny?
Well, his name is Ray Carroll, and I did all the choreography and did some of the directions too.
You're actually performing in it also?
No, I'm not performing. They're just did the dances, and the only performing I've done is with the group. Although you were speaking about movies, I made a couple of movies too since I talked to you before. I made Cold Front with
Martin Sheen.
Yeah, I have a nice part in that.
So we can.
So once in a while, something comes down.
Speaking of movies and your old movies and the wonderful old musicals that we don't see anymore, I know you have a private collection of some of your old films and others. And you're going to be giving the public an opportunity, particularly seniors, to see some of these films in an upcoming project. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Well, what I would like to do is, since I have all of these wonderful video things, I'm trying to put together, like when Jazz Sank isn't busy, I'd like to keep at least 3 of the musicians.
Fill up your spare time, is what you're saying, right?
Of the 3, say the piano, bass, and the drummer. And we would do a combination of live and movie things to be shown, especially to senior citizen groups, because all of these people are, of their era. They remember that era. And I previewed it more or less at Kids House not too long ago, and it was just simply wonderful. So I'm going to start. This is my next project, working on that, and I'll be showing the movies and talking about all the wonderful people that I met during that period, and then do some singing and do some Fats Waller tunes. And
so it'll be sort of a little lecture demo?
Yeah, lecture demonstration.
Will the band participate too?
Well, I'd use just 3 of the musicians,
right.
And then if we could get good enough, if they liked us, then I'd put the whole band in.
It sounds great. It's actually a little bit of history, isn't it, that you're taking around
really,
to people?
yes. And as I said before, when I did it at Kids, there was I couldn't believe it that they enjoyed it, and it was one of the senior groups, and they just came up and said, "Oh, how much we enjoyed it." They said, "Did you really know that person?" and so on and forth and so on and forth. So
I imagine for seniors, Jenny, it would be wonderful because these people lived through that era.
That era, yes, indeed.
It's much nostalgia for them. How about writing? I know you do writing. You've written arranged songs.
I've done some writing in most fields. Let me tell you, Lena Horne came to MGM after I was at MGM under contract, and when I heard that she was going to be there, I had just finished writing a song with Phil Moore, who was my first husband and who was a music man. And it was called the Sping, S-P-I-N-G, putting Spanish and swing mixture. And so I called the studio and asked if I could come out and audition this particular song. And they said yes. So I went out and I auditioned it, and they liked it. And so they put it in a movie called it's Red Skelter movie. Anyway, it's a Red Skelter movie, and it's in there, and I understand that it's going to be shown very soon. And it's this musical number that I wrote, and that's in music. I've done some arranging, and many years ago, I wrote in conjunction with a friend of mine a play, and I've heard from her granddaughter that there's a possibility of an interest in this particular play again.
What was the theme of the play?
Oh, the theme it was called The Matriarch, and we wrote it actually with for what's her name, Ethel Waters, the wonderful singer, and it was set on a Caribbean island and that sort of business.
And
really,
I hear that there was a great interest in it in those days, but because of the situation, it was not produced.
No, it was very difficult for any of the minority groups to break into the movies at that time, in any of the fields, writing or directing or anything. And so we had written this play, and it was really excellent, and it was par excellent. And so we got shifted around, because every time we'd go to talk about it, they'd say, "Did you really write this? And how long did it take you? And is this your theme?" and all that sort of business. So they just would sort of push it off, So we never got a chance to do anything with it.
Well, we'll look for it.
So we're looking for it, possibly do something now.
Super.
50 years, something should change. Something's got to give.
Things have changed. So where do you see yourself in the next little while?
Oh dear, I don't really know. I really should forget it.
Do you ever think? No.
But every time I hear some music or see some wonderful talent, I think, oh golly, how nice. No, I'm going to still teach, I think, and perform when I can.
Where can we look for you teaching?
Well, I've been at Kit's, for quite some time. Kit's Neighborhood House, I should say, at 7th and Vine. And that's where I'm going to.
So people can contact you there.
Yeah, and I may have another project that I'm going to be doing soon. I'm not sure about that yet, but I've been approached by someone about another dance project. So as long as they're asking for me, then I guess I better stick around.
Always be something to fill up those spare hours.
Yes.
And so we appreciate you coming down, chatting with us today.
You.
We'll be looking for your movies,
Thank you.
Old ones and new ones, all
Thank
over.
You.
Keep up the good work, and
Thank
lots of luck to you.
Thank you.
For contact, I'm Gloria Creighton. Please join us again next time.
Look at this gorgeous thing. Isn't it beautiful? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy. Did you like me when you saw me up there just now? That was when I was wee in size and wee in age. But this is a very wonderful day for me. I'm so happy to be here. I want to take my hat off to all of you, and thank you.